It all began on a rainy Saturday afternoon inside a crowded local martial arts gym, the sound of fists hitting pads and the sharp ki of students echoing off the walls. Parents sat on foldable chairs along one side of the mat, sipping coffee and chatting while their kids lined up in crisp white uniforms, waiting for class to begin. Among them was an 8-year-old girl named Emma, small for her age, with her hair in a messy ponytail and shoes that looked like they had been passed down twice before reaching her. Her father, Jack, sat quietly in the corner, still wearing his old work boots and a jacket with a frayed collar, his eyes never leaving his daughter. Jack was a single father, a former construction worker whose calloused hands told a story of years of hard labor. He didn't have much, but he had his daughter, and she had him, and that was enough for both of them. Emma had only been training for 3 months, and while her movements were still clumsy, there was something in her eyes that made her stand out, a determination far beyond her years. On the other side of the room, stretching in a crisp black belt uniform, was Ryan the Panther Cole, the gym's star instructor and regional kickboxing champion. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and had a grin that was equal parts charm and mischief. Ryan loved to entertain the parents, often showing off flashy techniques or making jokes during class. That day, during warm-ups, Ryan scanned the mat, spotted little Emma shadowboxing in her own quiet way, and a playful idea crept into his mind. "All right, everyone," he called out, his voice booming. "Let's do something fun. How about a friendly spar?" He looked around, pretending to search for an opponent, then stopped dramatically and pointed toward Emma. "You little one. How about you spar me?" The room erupted in light laughter. Some parents smiled, others shook their heads, assuming it was just a playful moment. Jack's brows knitted together, he wasn't sure if this was a good idea. Emma froze, glancing at her dad, then at Ryan. She could feel every eye in the room on her. "It's okay," Ryan said with a chuckle, beckoning her forward. "I promise I'll go easy." His tone was teasing, not malicious, but it carried the weight of every moment she had been underestimated in her short life. Emma stepped forward slowly, heart pounding. She didn't know whether to be scared or excited, but something inside her whispered, "Don't back down." Ryan handed her a pair of oversized sparring gloves, clearly meant for adults. The leather swallowed her tiny hands, and the headgear slipped over her eyes until Jack rushed forward to help adjust it. "You don't have to do this if you don't want to," Jack murmured. "I want to," Emma replied softly, her voice trembling but resolute. Ryan grinned and motioned for everyone to clear space. "All right, everyone, cheer her on. Let's see what she's got." The match began with Ryan dancing around lightly, throwing slow, exaggerated punches that Emma easily sidestepped. The crowd chuckled. But Emma didn't laugh, she studied him. Every step, every shift of his shoulders, every opening in his guard. She remembered something Coach Mia had taught last week: don't look at the hands. Watch the chest. That's where the attack begins. Ryan jabbed again, and this time, Emma slipped inside his range and tapped him on the chest with her glove. The crowd oohed in playful surprise. Ryan raised an eyebrow, slightly impressed. "Nice one," he said, moving faster now. He threw a light roundhouse kick toward her ribs, expecting her to flinch, but she sidestepped, pivoted, and with surprising timing, delivered a soft but perfectly aimed front kick to his stomach. It wasn't hard enough to hurt, but it was precise. The laughter faded slightly. The parents leaned forward. Ryan's playful grin wavered. "All right, kiddo," he said, adjusting his stance, "let's see what else you've got." Emma's breaths came quicker now, sweat trickling down her temples, but she kept her eyes locked on him. Ryan began to test her with combinations, jab, cross, hook, but Emma's defense tightened. She blocked, parried, and even countered with small but sharp punches that kept him guessing. Every time he thought he had her cornered, she slipped away, her footwork quick and light. The room's energy shifted from amusement to astonishment. Jack sat at the edge of his seat, his chest swelling with pride. He knew his daughter was strong, but seeing her stand toe-to-toe with a champion even in a playful spar was something else entirely. After 3 minutes, Ryan called, "Time." He raised Emma's tiny glove in the air, his voice loud enough to echo off the walls. "Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've got a future champion right here." The parents clapped and cheered, and Emma's cheeks flushed red with a mix of pride and disbelief. But just as the applause reached its peak, Ryan leaned down and whispered, "You surprised me, kid. But next time, I won't hold back." Emma didn't flinch. She looked him in the eye and said quietly, "Good. Neither will I." The crowd didn't hear it, but Jack did, and in that moment, he knew something had just changed. This wasn't just a fun spar. This was the beginning of something much bigger. If you're watching this right now, don't you dare miss what happens next, because Chapter 2 will show you exactly why everyone in that gym would remember Emma forever. Hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss the moment she shocks them all. 2 weeks had passed since the playful spar that had left the parents buzzing and Ryan, the black belt champion, quietly intrigued. Word of the match spread through the gym like wildfire, and soon it became a story people told with a mix of amusement and curiosity, the little girl who dared to step up to the Panther and didn't flinch. Ryan, to his credit, wasn't the kind to let things go. His pride wasn't bruised, not exactly, but there was a part of him that wanted to know just how much of what he saw that day was luck, and how much was raw, untapped skill. And so, one Saturday morning, he made an announcement at the end of the adult class while Emma was sitting on the sidelines tying her shoes. "Next Saturday," Ryan said, looking directly at her, "we're doing an exhibition match. You and me. Full crowd. Light contact, but real rules." The room murmured. Some of the older students smirked, others exchanged glances. Jack looked up sharply from the bench where he was sipping his coffee. Emma froze, her fingers tightening around her laces. "You mean, in front of everyone?" she asked, her voice small but steady. "Yep," Ryan replied with a grin. "I want to see what you've really got." It wasn't a taunt this time, his tone carried respect, but also challenge. Emma swallowed hard, then nodded. "Okay." The week leading up to the match was different. Jack noticed it right away. Every evening after school, Emma would drag the heavy bag into the middle of the living room and practice her combinations until her arms ached. She watched videos online of smaller fighters taking on taller opponents, learning how to use speed, angles, and timing to her advantage. Jack, who had never trained in martial arts, found himself holding pads for her, counting reps, and offering encouragement when she stumbled. There were moments when she looked exhausted, when sweat dripped into her eyes and her punches slowed, but each time she shook her head, muttering, "Again," and kept going. Jack asked her once, "Why are you working so hard for this?" "It's just an exhibition." She paused, resting her gloves on her knees. "Because everyone's watching, Dad. And I want them to see what you taught me, to never give up, no matter who's in front of you." The morning of the match arrived, and the gym was packed. Parents, students, and even people from neighboring dojos had shown up, curious to witness the rematch. The energy was electric. Ryan stood in the center of the mat, his black belt tied neatly, his expression calm but focused. Emma walked in wearing her white belt and borrowed sparring gear, her ponytail swaying as she stepped barefoot onto the mat. The size difference was comical, he was nearly 3 times her weight, his reach at least double hers. But there was no laughter this time. Everyone had heard the whispers about her last performance. Jack sat in the front row, hands clasped tightly, heart thudding in his chest. The referee, Coach Mia, stepped forward. "This is a light contact exhibition. Points for clean strikes and technique. Respect each other, keep it safe. Ready?" Ryan nodded. Emma gave a small nod too, her eyes locked on him. "Fight." Ryan moved first, testing her with a quick jab. She slipped it, countering with a sharp inside leg kick that made him adjust his stance. A few spectators raised their eyebrows, that was no lucky shot. He came in again, this time with a feint and a body kick, but Emma pivoted out of range and tagged him lightly on the ribs with a straight punch. The crowd let out a low "oh." Ryan's expression shifted, he was enjoying this. For the next 2 minutes, they danced across the mat, Ryan pressing forward, Emma darting in and out like a shadow. She wasn't stronger, she wasn't faster in raw speed, but she was relentless in her timing. Every time he committed to an attack, she found the smallest opening and took it. Then came the moment. Ryan decided to test her composure. He launched a spinning back kick, slow enough to avoid hurting her but fast enough to overwhelm most beginners. The crowd gasped. But Emma didn't freeze. She ducked under, swept his supporting leg with perfect timing.